down, bullies, blow the man down.
To me waiting, blow the man down.
Blow the man down, bullies.
This is a small portable media blast cabinet I purchased from Harbor Freight. Very inexpensive, Chinese made. The reports on this is they don't work all that wonderful, but they do in fact work. There are modifications you can make in order for these to perform much better, and I think in the future I will do that and I'll cover it in a subsequent video. But for now, the reason I have this is to clean up a bunch of small parts, get rid of the corrosion for these little bits and pieces from my new sailboat. These are all parts that came from the donor boat. They're used and I have to refurbish them. I built this little mobile cart out of some scrap OSB I had kicking around. I'll put a link in the video description below if you want to see how that was made and how I determined my dimensions to have this at a proper height for my body for being comfortable reaching into the gloves. Now, I haven't opened this yet. All I did was take it out of the box and it's just been sitting here since. The door to put things in and out is on the side here, the right side. That opens up and there's some assembly required. There's a box, parts. So the gloves are here, those are installed, but you have to open up this little box and then I guess assemble it. So all kinds of goodies. I have this sorted out. It's not really too difficult. In fact, it's actually quite crude. This fitting here is for the dust collection system. This goes through a hole that's already existing in the side of the metal cabinet. And this is a cap. When you're not using the dust collection system, it will fit into that. You can block it. There's also a hole in the back for a vent. And this is just a cap that blocks the vent opening in the back of the cabinet. Then there's a few little screws here with nuts. And that's to mount this vacuum or dust collection bracket or fitting. So they give you 4 of each, machine screws and nuts, a couple of hose clamps, and this looks like nothing more than a modified Harbor Freight paint gun, which is basically I think it's the same casting. And you take a hose clamp and you put this hose on one end according to the instructions. Probably should have put a little soapy water on that before I pushed it on. Now I just have to clamp this down. And then on the other end gets another hose clamp. And this end goes in. Hose clamp gets tightened. There's a little opening in the grate inside. I'll show you that in a second. And this just sticks into the opening down into the hopper. And of course I'm using glass beads. The glass beads go into the hopper and they work their way down. And once you have an air supply hooked to the gun, the high pressure air going past creates a vacuum and sucks the glass beads up through the hose, blasted out the nozzle. Oh, it's a pretty simple thing. Doesn't say anything about the goop, but I'm pretty sure that's just for putting around these little bits and pieces for sealing. It's really a lot more than you need. And that's about it. You have to, the other thing, and I'll show you that in a second when I grab my GoPro, is that the air supply going to the gun, there's a little opening in the back with a grommet. You have to feed an air hose through that grommet. In this case, there's a quick couple. You don't have to use a quick couple. And then you'd have to take the quick coupling off the hose in order to get it through the grommet and then put it back on. But if you have a dedicated hose, and I think I'll do that, you don't really need a quick coupler. So we can take that fitting off, put it in my toolbox and use it for something else, and just take a dedicated hose and hook it directly to the gun. So I'll make a little hanging bracket on the cart, and that way there I don't have to go searching for a hose or anything. I can just hook it right up to the compressor whenever I need it. This is the dust collection vent hole. This is the dust collection vent fitting, and according to the instructions that Harbor Freight has provided, this flange goes on the outside and this nipple goes on the inside, and then 4 screws and nuts. It's the only thing really that you would need the silicone for. They sent me that whole entire tube, and I already have a tube that's already open of similar goop. So I'm just going to go ahead and put it around this flange, and that's more than enough for sealing it. Quite frankly, just looking at this, and it fits in there fairly tight, I don't think you really need the goop. But since they call for it, we'll do it. So I got the goop on there, and we kind of line it up with the holes, at least pretty close. There. Now I just have to put the screws in. I hope I got it lined up enough. Oh yeah. Okay, so now it's just a matter of getting those nuts on the back side and tightening it up. Here's the inside of the cabinet, the blast cabinet. And there is the fitting. These are the exhaust fitting or dust collection fitting that I just put in. And you can see the nuts are on the back side. There is no way you can take a screwdriver and hold a screwdriver on these screws here and reach around. I don't know anybody that has arms that can do this. Reach around and tighten up those nuts on the back side back here. I don't know how you do it. Fortunately, my daughter was home and I was able to get her help, let her hold and turn the screwdriver out here while I held the nuts on the back side. Now, when you look at this machine and it comes with all these things already assembled, why could they not have simply assembled this one little fitting at the factory and save you the trouble? I don't understand that. All that's left to do, I'm going to take this pickup rod and it goes down into the hopper like so. It's just, very simple. And this gun just goes here, and then you just dump your media blast onto the grate. It goes down into the hopper, and this pickup rod will suck up the media and use the gun. But now you have to bring in an air hose, and the air hose down here in the rear, left hand side. I don't know if you can see that or not. Oh yeah, there it is. Hard for me to reach in and see that. There's the grommet where the air hose comes in. Now, it seems foolish if you can only bring an air hose in without any fitting on it, quick couple fitting, to fit on the quick couple. You have to take it off, then put it on again. Then if you want to take the hose out, you got to take the quick couple off. Why use a quick couple? It just doesn't make sense. So that's why I'm going to take this little nipple off, quick couple nipple, and just use a dedicated hose, because you can't be doing that all the time. This is what I'm using for my blast media. These are glass beads, and this is only a 25-pound pail, but that's all you need for this very small Harbor Freight bead blaster cabinet. And this I also bought from Harbor Freight. This is their brand, and it didn't cost that much. You'll find this stuff pretty much in all their stores. You can order it online, but the problem is this stuff is heavy and shipping can cost quite a bit. So if you can find this stuff locally, you're better off. And if you don't have a Harbor Freight store near you, usually auto parts stores such as Napa and other such chains, they usually have this blast media available, or they can get it for you. These are the special fasteners that are used for the outboard motor pad on my Mirage 5.5 that I recently acquired. And as you can see, I mean, these are stainless steel, but they've got all kinds of corrosion on them, and some kind of sealing junk and everything else. And since I made a new pad, I'm going to test out that bead blaster by cleaning these up before I reassemble things. I'm now going to put these fasteners in the bead blast cabinet. I'm going to fire up my compressor, and when I get enough air pressure, I'm going to give it a try and see how it comes out. Now, I'd like to videotape the entire process. However, there's really no way to get a camera in there and not hurt the lens, be able to film it. There's no light inside this cabinet. A lot of bead blast cabinets, my old one used to have a light inside, so you really can't get any video of it with all the dust flying around. So I'll just show you what they look like when they come out. Not a bad job at all. That'll work. This is the masthead that I took from the Downeast boat mast, and this is the end of the boom from that same boat. And you can see the aluminum casting here is all corroded. Same on this masthead. And this top piece is bolted to the casting, but the bolts are then welded. A couple of tangs here. There's a bolt going through. Again, they welded it. They put a weld between the bolt and the nut, so you can't take it off without grinding it. My grinder won't fit in there without hurting the aluminum casting. I could take a small grinding bit on the end of a drill, get in there and take it out, but I think I'm just going to leave it. I'll be using those tangs. I just taped them up so they won't be bead blasted, and so I can just clean up the casting. That's about the easiest route to go, I think, and we'll see how it works. I'm now going to put these into the media blast cabinet, and I'm going to blast them with glass beads and see how well they clean up. Not bad. Got it right down to bare metal. Cleaned up pretty nice.
What shall we do with the drunken sailor? What shall we do